Hey everybody, Ron Cecil here, men's relationship and marriage coach. Today I'm talking to you about why you can never follow through with what you start. I just got out of one of my coaching sessions with a client, and he told me something that I've heard over and over and over again, and I thought it was important that I reiterate what he told me to you because I have experienced this as well. And that is, I have started projects that I've never finished. I have gotten right up against the threshold of transformation or of progress or of success in my life, and then was overwhelmed by a felt sense of anxiety and then was not able to complete the task. Most men that I talk to feel the exact same way. You could call it nice guy syndrome, but I think a better way to describe it is men suffering from a lack of initiation and maturity. That's a universal problem right now in society. It's not because we're lazy. It's not because we don't know how to do something. It's because when we get to the threshold of the experience of change, our body begins to shut down. It no longer feels safe. And the way that it expresses that in our body is anxiety. I personally feel anxiety right at the bottom of my rib cage, right at the top of my ab muscles, the solar plexus. And if you are unfamiliar with that, just kind of close your eyes for a minute and put your hand over that and see if that's where you too feel your anxiety. I've heard of other men describe it as feeling it up in their chest and sometimes even their head. It doesn't really matter where you're experiencing it, but you are experiencing it. That's why most of us self-medicate. We self-medicate with coffee in the morning, we self-medicate with weed or alcohol or screens or all three of those, plus food in the evening, to the point where we have to repeat those cycles and add more over time because they lose their effectiveness over time until we're out of shape, we're disconnected from our feelings, and worst of all, we're dying because we aren't completing what we really want in our life. Our spirits are dying because our spirits are not purpose-driven. And we lack vision for our life because we physically can't feel it. I think of the proverb in the Old Testament that says, "My people perish from lack of vision." Guys, if you have that felt sense of anxiety in your life, it's not your fault. Something happened to you as a kid. One person's trauma may not be someone else's trauma. Yes, I experienced some sexual trauma as a kid. Yes, my dad was out of the house. That doesn't have to be your story. Sometimes your dad's present. Sometimes you've experienced no harm in your life, but you still lack maturity and you lack initiation into your masculinity. When you feel that, when you have immaturity and a lack of initiation in your life, you feel like you can't handle what life needs to bring you. And when I say it needs to bring you, we experience difficulties in our life so that we mature. And when we experience those difficulties and we're overwhelmed in our bodies with anxiety or depression, we turn to numbing agents to fix those things. I have been in alcohol recovery for almost 10 years. I know that well, which leads me to what you should do now. If this is you, I need you to do this for yourself today. Become an advocate for yourself. For me, it looked like understanding why I felt that way. Once my doctor said that to me, it was a light bulb going off. She said, "That's not normal. You don't have to live that way." So I threw all of my effort into understanding why my body felt that way. It looked like a multifaceted approach. She and I had decided that it's probably because of undiagnosed ADHD. She didn't just write me a script. I met with a specialist in ADHD who worked with me over 3 different sessions, and we got that diagnosis. I experimented with essentially all the ADHD medicine that there is. I found that none of them actually helped me. In fact, they made my felt sense of anxiety go up. That wasn't working for me. I got into meditation. I meditate almost every single day. I have gone through periods of intense daily exercise. Right now, it's not daily, but it's still a regular part of my life. I got serious about my sleep. I only take cold showers in the morning. I don't drink coffee anymore. I have microdosed mushrooms and macrodosed mushrooms. And guys, it isn't any one thing. There isn't a magic bullet that's going to suddenly remove this from your life. It's gonna be a multifaceted approach. Or as my friend and podcast co-host Daniel Pinner Klein says, Batman has to use every tool in the toolbox at some point. And if you have come up against that threshold in your life where you have a glass ceiling to success in love, in your career, and in your health, then you need to do something about it today. You need to understand that you cannot transcend what you physically feel like you're not capable of doing. That physical sense is tied to real things in your life that you need to change. So where do you start today? Get help. Reach out to somebody. At that time in my life, I was encouraged to reach out to help by a coach. Find a coach, find a doctor, find a therapist. Do all three. Do everything you can. Leave no stone unturned. You are fighting for your future. If you've got kids, you are fighting for their future too, because they are going to see you overcome this thing in your life and break through your glass ceilings. If you're looking for a little bit of assistance or want to hear more of my story and how it might help you in your situation, then click the link below, book a introductory coaching session with me, or take the nice guy quiz and see the other traits that you might be doing that are leading you to perpetually being stuck. Until next time, gents, grace and peace, everybody.